All right, today I'm going to be showing y'all what I like to use when it comes to filming luxury resorts or luxury properties in general. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is the camera. Now, the camera that I like to use is the Sony a7S III. The reason I recommend the Sony a7S III is because it has the best dynamic range when it comes to colors, but also in low light, it performs so well. And when you're filming properties, you want to make sure to capture bright daylight, golden hour, blue hour, but also low light. You want to make sure to get the lights on and show all the beauty that the property has. Even when it comes to interior shots, sometimes you want it a little bit more intimate, a little bit more warm. So you want to make sure that no matter what, it's going to be performing well in low light conditions. Now, the Sony ZV-E1, Sony a7 IV are some other good cameras you can use that are in a lower price range, but I always recommend that you want to invest in your equipment. You want to make sure that your equipment is going to grow with you for the next 3 to 5 years. So if you're planning on buying a camera, make sure that it's going to last you that long before you upgrade. Now, the second most important thing is going to be the drone. And for me, the drone that I reach for every single time when my clients hire me for luxury property stuff is going to be the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. Now, the reason I recommend the Mavic 3 Pro, again, is because it's one of the newer drones, so you know it's going to last you for a long time. It performs really well in low light conditions as well, but also it has 3 lenses on it. It has a 24mm, 70mm, and 106mm. So you're able to get either far away distances or get really cool tight shots. Now, with the 24mm, you're able to get the wide shot of the property to show how big and massive it is. But then with the 70mm, you're able to crop in and zoom to whether it's the cabins, the clubhouses, or some of the amenities to be able to show it off in a tighter form. And you're not cropping, so you're still able to get 4K footage with each one of these lenses. Now, the 166mm is one that I've liked to use when it comes to when I'm out in the mountains or different places where I'm capturing certain things that I know I'm going to be super far away, but getting that compression with the 166mm makes mountains and so many different things look that much bigger and makes the property pop that much more. Now, another camera that I like to carry with me is the Sony a7C. Now, the reason I like using the Sony a7C is primarily for interior photos or all-around photography. Because the Sony a7S III has a 12 megapixel camera, I want to make sure that my clients are getting the best and highest resolution when it comes to photos. So if I'm going to be doing any photography, whether interior or exterior, I make sure to bring the Sony a7C around so I can get the best 24 megapixel photos that I can. Now, this is literally like a Sony a7 IV, but in a crop sensor body. So it performs really well as a video camera as well. So there's times where I'm going to be doing some interviews, and if I do them, I'll have the Sony a7C as a secondary camera and the Sony a7S III as my primary camera. Now onto the stabilizer. The stabilizer that I like to use is the DJI Ronin S3. Now, to me, after I bought this stabilizer, I really have never felt the need to upgrade to another one because this does everything that I need, and it also connects via Bluetooth to your camera. So it's kind of eliminated me wanting to upgrade to anything else because it's gotten rid of all the cables and all that kind of stuff. And it still does really well when I'm putting either the Sony a7C or the S3 with a monitor, with mics and all that good stuff. It's able to hold up all the weight. So until they come up with something better or some new features on these stabilizers, I'm sticking with the RS3. Let me know what y'all think about it. Now we're going to talk about lenses. So these are the lenses that I carry with me at all times when I'm filming luxury resorts and properties. First of all, it's going to be the Sony 16-35 G Master. Now, the reason I recommend the 16-35 is because you're going to get that 16mm, which is going to be the widest that you can go. And I know there's some people out there who recommend maybe a 14mm or a 12mm, but to me, that's always looked too wide. And sometimes there's like bending at the corners. So I've been using 16s for the longest time. I've never had any clients complain about it. So this is why I love using this one. Also, it's a very sharp camera, whether you're using it for photos or for video. And you're able to zoom into that 35, which allows you to get a second type of shot. Rather than the wide, you're a little bit more tight, a little bit more intimate when it comes to some of the things that you're filming or even taking photos of. And also the 16-35 is a G Master lens, so you know you're getting the highest grade possible when it comes to glass and functionality with the Sony lens. Now, my second lens that I carry literally everywhere is that 85mm 1.8 Sony lens. Now to me, I think an 85mm is a focal length every photographer and videographer should have, primarily because the detailed shots that you can get with this lens are probably like no other. And at a 1.8, the bokeh just makes everything look beautiful and makes it pop and stand out. So if you're in the market for a lens, I highly recommend an 85mm lens, because this is something that I never take out of my camera bag. Now the third lens that I like to recommend is the 50mm lens. And the reason being is because that is the same focal length as the human eye. So when you take photos or video with it, it's a lot more pleasing to look at and comes off way more natural. Now, a few other things that I never take out of my bag have to be ND filters. So the reason that you want to be using ND filters is because no matter what kind of property you're filming, especially if it's luxury property, there's going to be pools, there's going to be glass, there's going to be a lot of reflections. So you want to make sure that you're bringing ND filters with you, so it cuts all that reflection off, so you're not stressing out in post. Also, ND filters just make colors and everything else around just pop even more. So when you're filming, it allows you to look at it kind of in the way that you're going to be editing in post. So to me, ND filters are something that I'm always keeping in my bag and I rarely ever take out. And the last thing is a bonus. Now, I often get asked by a lot of my clients on luxury resorts and other real estate properties is for Matterport or 360 footage. And so what I like to use for that is the Insta360 X4. Now, the main reason I like to use the X4 is because that is the newest one that the Insta360 has come out with. It performs really well in low light and is compatible with Matterport. So if you have any clients who are wanting to update their Matterport listings, then you can use this with it. Not only that, one thing that I've been doing lately for properties has been an entire property walkthrough with a 360 camera, and that allows people to have a 360 tour of the entire campsite before they even arrive. So this isn't something I do for every property, but definitely every luxury property that I've worked for, whether it's in Arizona, Colorado, and different places, has been wanting more and more 360 footage. So if you do have budget to get one, I highly recommend it, because then you can just upcharge it for that and the camera pays itself off after your first or second gig. So this is literally everything that I carry with me when it comes to luxury resorts and luxury property shoots. Now, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of how I film, how I edit, and how I do all that kind of stuff, comment that below. But I'm also going to add some inexpensive options like the ZV-E1, Sony a7 IV, and one drone that I like to use still when it comes to property shoots is going to be the Air 2S. To me, I think it still does a phenomenal job because it has that 1-inch sensor, does really good in low light, battery life is still good, and you're able to color grade so well with that. And also you're able to zoom in with the Air 2S as well. So that's another drone that if you don't want to go for a $4,000 drone like the Mavic 3 Pro, you can do the Air 2S or even one of the minis. So I'm going to have all that listed below if you guys want to purchase it. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for the next What's in My Bag, because we're going to be talking about luxury restaurants.